Hello and welcome back to Law and Life. I'm Shashank Mishra, with renowned senior advocate of Supreme Court of India, Sood Markandeji. Here we discuss on current legal issues, statutes, and other related topics. In this episode, we will elaborate on demonstration of currency notes, Constitutional Bench reserved judgment. So, after a fairly long hearing, the Constitutional Bench, presided over by Justice S. Abdul Nazir, has reserved its judgment, directing the central government and Reserve Bank of India to produce relevant record. Can recall for our viewers the fact and circumstances attended upon the demonetization.
The acute hardship felt by crores of citizens is still very fresh in public memory. On 8th November 2016, the Prime Minister of India made the announcement over Doordarshan that existing currency notes of all series carrying Mahatma Gandhi's image and of the denomination of 1000 and 2000 shall cease to be the legal tender, and they could be exchanged by the holder of old notes for new ones in denominations of 500 and 2000. And the last date for doing this process was December 31, 2016. Next day, the Reserve Bank of India also issued the necessary notification in exercise of its power under Section 34 of the Reserve Bank of India Act 1935. It was officially claimed thus that this step was taken to curtail the shadow money, increase the cashless transactions, and reduce the illicit counterfeit cash being used for funding illegal and terrorist activities.
So, what was the effect of demonetization?
Effect was that there were unprecedented cash shortages for weeks together. There was large scale disruption of economy. Then we have all experienced long queues for exchanging demonetized notes for the newly issued notes. And then there was acute hardship to the common man, to you, to me, to everyone,
Yes, sir.
because we had to stand in the queue. We didn't have, proxies to make them stand there. And, there was a feeling that it's a very bad situation that I can't use my own money in even in distress, because
Yes,
there
sir.
was some ceiling up to which you could draw the money from the bank, that is exchange. Then there was reduced commercial activity, industrial production. All that was having very adverse impact on the GDP growth. And on plus side, it was claimed by the authorities that there is manifold increase in digital and cashless transactions. But that's of no immediate value to the common man. And then it was also claimed that there is spurt in the cash collection. So that's also to the benefit of government and not us.
Yes, sir.
Undoubtedly, the people of India suffered acute hardship patiently and peacefully, believing in the official version. The demonetization operation showed several serious gaps in planning and execution of this demonetization. It was bound to be condemned by the leaders of the opposition parties. On February 27, 2017, specified banknotes Cessation of Liabilities Act 2017 also came into force, whereby the liability of the Reserve Bank and the Reserve Bank of India and the central government in regard to the demonetized notes seized after 31st December 2016, causing great hardship to many non resident Indians.
Sir, can you explain what happened after that?
So many writ petitions were filed in the high courts. I think
Yes, sir.
Kerala High Court was the first to receive such writ petitions. But the Kerala High Court was also the first to dismiss the writ petition under Article 226 challenging demonetization on the ground that it's a public policy matter where the courts should better stay their hands. Then a very large batch of writ petitions were also filed under Article 32 in the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court also directed all the matters pending before the various high courts to be transferred to the Supreme Court. Due to its importance, the matter was referred to the Constitution Bench. After a long wait, all these cases came up for hearing, and it was said on behalf of the central government and the Reserve Bank of India that the cases had become infructuous due to a flux of time. But uh, the petitioners successfully persuaded the Supreme Court to examine at least the legality of the process involved in demonetization, whether the processes prior to Section 34 of the Reserve Bank of India were properly followed or not. So the court, in tune with its earlier judgment in Raffle case, took up for consideration as to whether the processes involved in demonetization were properly followed or not. And
Yes, sir.
arguments were heard on both sides on this limited question.
So, sir, what is the outcome of that?
So on 7th December 2022, the Constitution Bench reserved judgment and directed the central government and the Reserve Bank of India to produce the relevant record bearing on the question as to whether the process envisaged by Section 34 of the Reserve Bank of India Act was properly followed or not. I think the presiding judge, Justice S.A. Nazir, is retiring on 4th of January 2013, and I think the judgment will be pronounced before that.
Yes, sir. So, is anything gained by the merely examining whether the process involved by the central government and the Reserve Bank have been followed or not?
Let's not jump the gun and await the judgment. If the
Yes, sir.
processes of law have not been followed, the Supreme Court will, for the future guidance, issue necessary directions to be followed so that, the lapses which happened during the uh, impugned notification of the Reserve Bank demonetizing those currency notes, they the they the in future all these lapses will not happen, and and remedial measures would be taken so that uh, in future the common man is not put to so many hardship as he was put to during the impugned challenge to the demonetization. So see, it's a very serious matter and affects crores of people across the country. And ameliorative measures for softening the hardships are definitely required. So let us see the
Yes,
judgment.
sir. We, we will soon get in the judgment from the Supreme Court and we will have discuss further discussion on that, sir. And that's all for the today, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving your time, sir.
Thank you, Shashank.
Yes, sir.